Oh my God, it's
their
so funny.
chocolate idol. They made this golden
Uh-huh.
idol to chocolate, and then
Yep.
he gets it on his lip, and that one shot, that like it's a close up, like this close of his
It's
shot. He's just
so
like,
bad.
and it's
It's
like it's
so
borderline sexual.
no, it is. It is.
And
And the
it
way he
probably
reacts
is.
to it. Hello, hello.
Hello, welcome back, everybody. It's great to be back. Today we are talking about the 2000 movie Chocolat.
Chocolat.
So right before we started recording, Alex asked me a question. I think that he's feeling like this might be another Rosemary's Baby, the way he said it.
Maybe.
He asked me, "Did you like this movie?" And I know that that's like something we're going to get into seal of approval wise,
Yeah.
towards the end. But yeah, I really liked this movie. I found it wildly entertaining. Sarah and I were like, okay, we started it on like her lunch break a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
And then she just worked through it. She was like, we were both hooked. Now we had both seen it. I think I've told you this. I don't know if I've told the audience, but, when the first time we watched it, we had this was the first year or so of dating. We were house sitting for some
Oh,
friends,
wow. Okay.
and I got her for Christmas. I knew we were going to be house sitting. I got her like a basket of chocolate and wine and
Oh,
a bunch
you
of other things.
romantic fool. Listen to you.
And I got her this movie, and I got her Amelie because Sarah took French and stuff. And
That is one of my favorite films.
we watched Chocolat, and then we went to the hospital, and I've never seen Amelie ever. But I didn't remember the movie because that night was, so Sarah had like a gallbladder attack that night. And like, it was just like an absolutely atrocious night. I cooked dinner and we did all these things, and like dinner was great, and like it was like really heading into like this beautiful night until she was like, I need to go to the hospital. And I was like, oh shit. And that was at some point during Chocolat. So like, that's my first experience with the movie. But yes, we liked it a lot. I have some thoughts when we get to like, when we get to the studio notes section and the denouement about it. But why don't we dive right in right now? All right, so why don't we talk about why we picked this movie and we didn't really talk about a focus ahead of time. Well, we kind of did, but
No. We did, and actually, I liked the one that you specifically brought up about it being a community film. And oh my gosh, does it have so many of those structures of like that perfect feel good / classic arc of fun, romance, character introduction, conflict worse, conflict resolution, romance. Like it's that absolute story arc.
yeah.
And so many of the films that were popular during this 2000, because I graduated high school in 02. So many films that were in this kind of time had this feel. Like Waking Ned Divine.
Yeah.
Another big favorite of mine from around the same time, also has some of this same feel.
There was a big English language European boom of community movies. So you mentioned Waking Ned Divine. In our text thread, I mentioned The Gentleman Who Went Up a Hill and Came Down a Mountain, which for the audience members, I've seen it a couple times. I don't remember it great, but I remember that it's just like just that super charming, like the community comes together over this an outsider comes in. They're not an enemy.
It's always got to have an outsider.
The outsider,
but they have to be made an enemy. The outsider has to be accused of, maybe not made, but accused of.
The enemy, the outsider comes in with like an outside view of what the village the community could be, which is scary at first, and then eventually the community goes, oh, this is actually like a great dream. This would make the community better, and we
Yep.
love our community so much. And it's I at one point during the after, like right as the movie was ending with Sarah, I said, this is like what every Hallmark movie wants to be.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my gosh. It's exactly one of the things I thought is this is what a properly made Hallmark could have been. Like every
yes, yeah,
time like a scene would play out or lines would be delivered that had real gravity, I would think, oh my gosh, this is all the Hallmark, none of the bad.
yeah,
Like all the good
yeah.
stuff you wanted it.
So
And
the reason we picked the movie, obviously, as we mentioned last week, is we did a 2 week food focus. Um,
and this
and
is pretty food
actually,
focused.
it is, but also this movie pairs so well with Ratatouille in
It
so many weird ways. Like
does. Yep.
with Ratatouille, you've got the big city France and like the culinary expertise and like the like snobbery of it, and kind of coming down. And in this
And here's
one,
little France.
and this is like a little village, and instead of Paris being a character like you mentioned, the village is, you know,
It's just the setting. It's the
and yeah,
regular old
this,
setting. Yeah.
and well, in this one, it's like that one's like Paris in, like Paris is affecting
Oh
inward. This is
yeah.
like everything else is affecting out to the community. So it was
Mhm.
like almost like a mirror to last week,
It
in a lot of
is.
ways.
It is. And I like how Hallstrom had like the two big swings of his career, I think, were Cider House Rules, which
Mhm.
was the year before, and this. So
Okay.
both of them had some of those same tropes, some of those same, uh, 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 like you were mentioning, like the feel good community, especially being outside/European feel good, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I think this is better than Cider House Rules.
Okay.
Cider
I
House is
haven't seen
not.
Cider House, so
It's one of those like every episode of Cinnamon, we talk about so many of these movies we haven't seen critically. And
yeah.
actually, when I was watching back the episode after it was edited, that's exactly something that I've said is I've never watched this critically. And Chocolat came out 2 years before I graduated high school. So I would hear like soccer moms and parents talking about it or older siblings talking about it. Like I never, obviously my age never was going to see this, right?
Yeah.
And you
Well,
have,
also a teenage boy, like when this movie came out, young teenage boys would have been like, so yeah, no, this movie was excellent paired with
it really fits.
Ratatouille.
Now,
It,
now that you're mentioning like the likenesses they both have, but even more importantly, the specifics that they both touch on.
mhm,
Yeah, this was it was a good pull. And what I think is interesting is one of my favorite things about Amelie is the use of color. Perfect
yes,
example of that again, like ideal example of the use of color and
no,
symbolism of color, even though that's not our topic.
no,
It is an ideal use of it.
yeah, yeah. I also think with the thing that I like about these movies is you have these big ensembles. So like I would, you know, Judi Dench is a big name, but like Judi Dench isn't a big name in like
Dame Judi Dench.
James dude that, but Judi Dench is, you know, she's a big name, but like she's not like the it girl kind of like, you know, she's not like a Brad Pitt or a George Clooney or a Julia Roberts like big
No,
name in the same
especially in
way.
2000.
Right,
Especially in
right.
2000. Yeah.
Although she'd just come off of an Oscar win 2 years earlier for Shakespeare in Love.
Shakespeare in Love. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's, you know, she's very
How
very
about
good.
Carrie Ann Moss?
Carrie Ann Moss. I
Like
like to think that this
right
is,
or like that. I mean, she became a name for Americans with The Matrix,
yeah,
obviously,
the year
but
before this. So
right,
this is the
exactly the
pre.
year before.
I kept thinking throughout this movie, this is the prequel to The Matrix. This is what
This is what set
this
Carrie
is
Ann
what
Moss off.
This is what Trinity was. This was Trinity's reality before.
This was
before she,
Trinity's Matrix.
just imagine Morpheus walking into like 1959 France and being like,
Would you
I
like
don't.
the red pill or the blue pill?
You have a decision.
You close your eyes, and everything can change.
And so I thought that, but like you also have
We should
Alfred.
watch The Matrix.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
It's so good. This
Yeah.
is not a Rosemary's Baby situation. I genuinely will still think the movie is good.
Yeah. The sequels, maybe not, but
True.
Alfred Molina is amazing in it.
That is true. Yeah.
You know the what's the woman who plays the main character? Why am I spacing on her name?
Oh my God,
Um,
I'm looking at it now and I can't find it.
Ju-
Uh, Oddly
Julie.
enough, her name's buried in the IMDb, which is super weird to bury that.
It's because it was in order of appearance. That's why. Because I had the same thought of like this Juliette Binoche.
But no, now she was in a lot of stuff, but it's mostly Juliette Binoche is mostly in international films, correct? Or is she mostly a US actress?
I have seen her in a few things, English language things, but I think that she does a lot in France still.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but like she's a decently big name. The only person who I would say is a like genuinely big name is Johnny Depp. And Johnny Depp is arguably the farthest back of the like if you look at the main 10 characters, he's number 10 in importance and screen time in a lot of ways.
Okay, fair.
So like
True.
you're like literally burying the lead. But like Johnny Depp is, and he's very good in it.
Oh, he's
um
freaking excellent in this. You're not
this is
kidding.
when they go, oh, it is pirates, it is pirates. Sarah goes, oh, cool, Johnny Depp gets to play a pirate, and I'm like, yeah, and he's in love with someone who makes chocolate. Like I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah,
he
it's
went right
perfect.
in the next 5 years. He would be in Pirates, and then he'd be in Willy
That's true.
Wonka.
That's true. And what I think is interesting is he's an Irish pirate. So
Mm.
he's really, if anything, a gypsy more than he's a pirate. And
Yes.
every time
Oh
I
yeah.
heard him do that
I think that's just a little
poor,
kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the little what?
The,
The little kid?
I think
His
just the
daughter?
little. I think the little kid calls him a pirate, but I don't think at any point anyone thinks of them as
Yeah,
pirates.
no, you're right. A nuke calls him a pirate, but he
Yeah.
really isn't. I what did it was so weird. What did his daughter call him? She was like, "This is my something," and I tried to look up the derivation of that word, and I couldn't find any connection to like.
Was it definitely his daughter? Because she said he's not my father. He's.
That's what I'm saying. He's not my father. What did she say? He's not my father. He's my what?
I thought
It's
it
like,
might be like uncle or something. I couldn't understand
but it
her.
wasn't. No, but if you when you bring up the captions, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, no, that's probably what she says he is. I kept trying to find out what that really is, and
Yeah.
I couldn't. So yeah, he plays our, I guess, secondary outsider, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then all of the people who came in on his boat, therefore the pirate inference, are the tertiary outsiders.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for production, you've got big names, you've got a fantastic director at the time and in the future, and then Juliette
Yeah.
Binoche, what 15, 6, no, 17 years before before she does Ghost in the Shell, which is for the sci-fi people a big role for her, obviously.
Yeah.
So I I really enjoyed the setting, calling out enough of rural France without feeling like underhanded the way
No.
that like a very overdone thing could feel.
Yeah.
So you could have set this in such a like, bastardized isn't the right word. You could set this in the most stereotypical French village and have it feel like silly. It felt genuine.
Yeah. And I think that you could set this like I think that you could have set this in. I mean, I think
France, Poland, Russia.
Italy.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be France. It's interesting that it is because of
Hmm.
the romance, French, and then chocolate connection, like
Hmm.
that. And also, admittedly, a lot of the chocolate preparation methods and a lot of the chocolate specificities sound better with a French accent.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And
also,
also,
Juliette Binoche does a fantastic French accent. So, I mean,
yeah, and also I think you need to keep the religious. And Italy, you probably could do that. I don't know if you
I
go to
was
other.
surprised. I did not grow up Catholic, you did,
Mhm.
and I never associate the French with Catholicism the way I do Spain or Portugal or South America, or like you just mentioned, Italy. Like those are the places that when I think of
Yeah,
like hardcore, like like Catholic religion with all the guilt,
yeah,
that's not where I think, but I think the Frenchiness of it
yeah,
required this to be there because again, chocolat, cafetière, like so many of these
yeah.
words just sound better with French intonation than they do with
Right,
just chocolate.
right. But I think going back to religion for a second, like the other big chocolate country I think of is Switzerland. I don't
Agreed.
know
Oh, this would be more
what
well.
I don't know what religious tones it would have had in the 50s. Like I don't know were they
Mm,
as intense. Now Italy probably would work, although Italy's not as known for chocolate.
very true.
Switzerland is the only one that I think kind of works, but I don't know how it works
In
religious.
chocolate and in war,
Yeah, well, yeah,
they are known.
yeah. And but so like it was fun. It was funny because Sarah didn't grow up Catholic either, and so she was like during some of the religious stuff in it, she goes, "Oh, did you do that? And
Did
did you
you
do
do
that?
that? Yeah.
Oh, like when they have the guy sitting in on the like CCD, like with the kids, she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, was that what? Did you have to learn what like a mortal sin was and stuff?" And I'm
Yeah,
like,
you did.
No, I didn't. Not like
Oh,
that.
you didn't? Okay.
No, I didn't. But like you have to keep in mind,
Did you
and
go
this
through
is
CCD?
I went to Catholic school from 5th grade to 12th grade, so I only had to go through CCD the year that I got confirmed because
Okay. Well, that's what I was saying because
religion
the
class
confirmation is like
counted.
it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
religion class counted against it, and my religion classes a lot of times taught us about religion as like different. Like we learned about Islam and we learned about uh, Scientology and learned about all these
It
other
was religion class. It
yeah.
wasn't Catholic religion class. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I only had
Okay.
the 1 year of CCD, and it was really different than that. But so that is also like an interesting. So you're post-war, and in that, and then you're pre-Vatican II, which for non-Catholics, Vatican II happens in 62, 3 or 4, I forget which, and that's where they start to reform in the sense of we want it to be a religion for the people. So up until that point all masses were in Latin. So like they would have gone.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They don't really. That is. I mean, I should say all the readings were in Latin. So like they
I
may
was
have
about to
done
say
their homilies.
it was less welcoming to outsiders, and that was
Yes.
what that Reformation was about: is to try to
Yeah.
draw in folks that
Hmm.
otherwise would have been ostracized.
And it was gate kept really like
Oh yeah,
strongly by like if you didn't read Latin, which not everyone
you were
did,
screwed.
you were just hearing Amini, Domini, Bomini, Bomini,
Hmm.
and then there would be the priest would uh not translate specifically but interpret for you. And so
Right.
that
Okay.
that kind of almost gets lost a little bit in the fact that it's supposed to be French but it's translated to English for us, is that the the mayor taking in the movie the mayor um he goes ahead and writes out the homilies or the for the priest to say, and they work on it together every week, and he basically dictates to the priest. Now part of that is it's a young priest. We don't know if he did that with the old priest that had been there for 5 decades, as they
I'm
mentioned.
thinking he did.
Probably, but
Well, no, let me
it
pull
like
back. I'm not sure because he was more controlling with the new young
mhm.
priest, and I think that was because of the how should I say this? Because of how damaging
Yeah,
the incoming could have been. Maybe that's why maybe that's why he pushed harder on
yeah,
him. I remember the scene where he's like holding it while he's giving the sermon,
yeah, and he's
and
mouthing
he's like
along.
mouthing all the words back because he literally wrote it for the
Yeah,
kid. You know? Yeah.
but that when you think about the fact that at that point in time most of those villagers, I mean, they may have, first of all, they spoke a romantic language, so it's not that big of a deal
True.
compared to English speakers like us, for us to hear, like Domini and like all those, a lot of that stuff will translate. But I don't know how well those average people would know Latin, like specifically.
Mm,
So you have that, like the priest now, if you go to a Catholic mass, you're understanding when they do the readings, it's in English and you're understanding them. And then
Yep.
the priest gives his interpretation on top of that, in addition to that. It's not just his interpretation is your translation, essentially.
Right.
It is his interpretation. Back then he was that. So to have the mayor doing that is an extra layer that, to a non-Catholic or someone who is not familiar with pre-Vatican II Catholicism, that part probably gets lost a little bit.
So for you and your Catholic education when you were younger, in Romance language countries, like we are mentioning, so this is Italy, this is France, was the mayor or the conte in this case, would they always be that involved with the church and its teachings and its doctrine, or was this like specific for this film and a little more because it made for good cinema?
Okay, so obviously I grew up, like for the better part 40 years after this takes place,
Oh no,
or
fair,
so,
fair. But
so,
when you learned
but
about it, is like that. Oh yeah, the
yeah.
mayors or the comtes or the commanders,
So
like they would
well,
be the ones.
what I was going to say is, like, I also went to church. The churches that I went to were significantly bigger
Okay,
in parish size, in the amount of people that
yeah.
showed up every week. That What are there, 30 people in that church every week?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
In mine, there would have been hundreds, 150 to 200 people any given week. And
Yeah.
and they had multiple priests, because it wasn't once a week that they did mass. They would do 2 to 3 masses on Sunday.
Yep.
And then there was usually like a morning mass every day of the week for old people would go to, right? But when you have the
And
multiple,
Saturday night
you
and
would have
multiples on Sunday.
you'd have multiple priests, and I would think that the head priest probably plays the Alfred Molina role more similar, and like you will get like a priest who's in his 50s who's been doing this for a while, and then you get somebody who's not right out of the seminary necessarily, but somebody who's younger
In
and
training. The Episcopal church that I grew up in has that too. We would always have your same much older guy, sort of younger, and then the rotating last chair where the people coming out of
yeah.
seminary or going through their, I guess, in training, kind of on the job training sort of thing. So you
So
think
the
this
young
is more for
priest
the cinema or no?
No, I think that they've found a way of rebuilding the dynamic that isn't necessarily the exact roles that would play out, but like I think that
Okay.
dynamic exists. Think Karras and the other guy.
Oh no. Oh no.
You know who I'm talking about. I can't think of
I
his name,
do.
but I need a young priest and an old priest. The
Yeah,
power of
yeah.
Christ compels you. Uh, so like,
His father is Satan. Sorry.
wrong movie. This was a good movie. um, yeah, let's talk about. So the plot of the movie, as we've kind of alluded to, is what's her name again?
Vienne.
Vienne. Her Vienne and her daughter
Anouk.
Anouk. Uh, they come into this town. The narrator explains to us that they blow in with the north wind into this town,
That has a
and
visual representation when it throws the doors of the church open.
yes, yeah. Also, just sorry, real quick aside, the music in the opening of this movie, if you
Yeah.
watch Beauty and the Beast, is so similar to the like music at the beginning of Beauty and the Beast when they're like
Oh.
when it's still that like the storybook version, like at the very very beginning. It's that almost like I bet you if you play them next to each other, you'd be like, oh yeah, they're almost the same song. Which
Okay.
Little French Village, and like, and it's
Kind of makes sense.
they're
Yep.
only like 6 years apart in production, but
That is true too.
so Vienne and Anouk come into this little village with the north wind. The narrator explains to us that they've kind of hopped and they want to open a they rent a patisserie, which is like a pastry shop, but then they end up going specifically with a chocolat. I don't chocolaterie. I won
Close
the
enough.
chocolaterie.
Close
No.
enough.
I would love to win the chocolate lottery. So they go ahead and they start to open it, and we don't know exactly how far into Lent it is. It's not Ash Wednesday, but it might be that first Sunday of Lent. And so like,
Real
several.
quick, give those out for our audience because I know what they are.
Okay, Ash Wednesday is the official first day of Lent. It's 40 days before. I can't remember. Is it 40 days before Good Friday or 40 days before Easter?
I'm thinking 40 days before Good Friday
I think
because
so.
Easter comes obviously before that. So the
No,
celebration is that whole time. Oh, the
Easter
Easter comes
comes.
after that. So
Yeah.
the celebration is that whole time period.
Yes. Yeah. So
And it's
that's
interesting that she brings a sinful thing right during Lent. And actually, it's funny. The Comte even says, right in Lent. Like he's even
yeah.
like kind of mad about she opens
Mhm.
a scandalous chocolate shop
Well,
right
yeah.
during
So
Lent.
she opens this. They're talking about while the intro narration is happening, we see the young priest talking about abstinence for
Hmm.
Lent. And and for so many people, now a lot of times Catholics they'll I'm giving up this thing. But back
Yeah,
then, it was a little more strict about you would do your best to eat only like for sustenance. You would fast. You eat like very the bare minimum. You'd not nothing that's particularly pleasurable. Um, and so like chocolate is like the exact
it
opposite of
is.
that.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
essentially,
and a lot of the core values of Catholicism is based on like self discipline and going without. And it's
yeah.
not necessarily going without so others can have. It's going without to bring focus
Hmm.
to your understanding of God and his teachings.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of this is about, and a lot of the sermons that both are alluded to, and you hear as the audience call out to those things. Like you said,
Yeah.
give abstinence. He's like literally talking about something, and Vienne and Anouk wear red cloaks.
Hmm.
Like it is the most scandalous sexualized color possible, and they come in with the wind like you mentioned, and the shots from
Yeah.
behind, and they're walking up that stone like probably centuries old wall walkway, and then the doors fly open from the
Yeah.
statue. Well, actually it pans from the
The
statue and then the doors fly open.
the intro really felt a little bit like the beginning of Mary Poppins with
Yeah,
that
it did.
sense of like these visitors coming from and like there's no magic involved in the movie but like
True.
but there is like it gives that almost like fairy tale whimsy to that intro of like
There is some feeling of that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'll go with that.
So anyway, so pretty quickly we see that it's the mayor is he's the he wants everything to be prim and proper. He wants everyone to be obedient, and so this chocolaterie is I'm never gonna say it right. I'm sorry. I'm an Italian and Spanish guy, not a French guy. Uh, as far as my foreign languages, so he that's at odds with Lent, and then he
Yeah.
calls her Madame, and she says, "No, it's Mademoiselle. I've never been married."
Oh,
And
lights him
while
up. He's like,
while he's meeting her child, and so he's
right,
like,
right. Nuke's
and
like, what's wrong with that, mom?
yeah. And so like, he's at such they're at such odds, but she's so welcoming, and he still has that at the big first scene, he has that like I am a I am the ambassador and of the town to you, and I'm going to welcome you, and I'm going to be polite because that's the prim and proper thing to do at that
Yeah,
first meeting. And so like he never really falters in that at the up until the very end of the movie. He follows that same trajectory of like this is the thing I'm supposed to do. So when he goes and
yeah,
greets her, that's the thing he's supposed to do. When she bucks up against like I don't go to church, and I'm opening a chocolate place, and I'm a unmarried woman, the thing that I'm supposed to do becomes more adversarial. So he does
yeah,
stay that way, but then we learn that his wife has been in Italy for some time. visiting, and
Hmm.
everyone kind of is skirting around the idea that like she's not coming back, and but he keeps going. She's decided to stay a little longer, and she's decided, and
Well, and as a devout Catholic, you guys cannot get
divorced. Yeah,
correct. It is a
yeah,
mortal sin to be divorced in the Catholic religion. So, and that's kind of there's some talk about that in the movie
yeah,
too.
and
But yeah,
well, and I think that that's where
he
we
has
see
to. He has to wholesale that she's coming back. Obviously, he has to.
right. So then we
The
have
Conte can't be like, oh no, she's just not with me anymore. Like he could never make himself say that.
So then we start to see a little bit, I want to say a diversion, but a proxy for their conflict, for that conflict is that Josephine, played by Lena Olin, but she plays a
Yeah,
woman who at first I thought she was like a klepto, and she's shy because she's a klepto.
dude,
But
I thought she had like a condition or something because of the way she acted. It wasn't. It was mousy to the point of it almost felt like a disability.
right,
The way she
right.
spoke in such just not even short sentences but
Hmm.
phrases.
Yes,
and,
yeah.
and and you're right, she stole from the chocolatier. She stole
Chocolatier.
chocolatier. And
It's as
what I
close as
love
I'm getting.
is no, it's pretty good. What I like a lot is Vienne. She says she has a knack for guessing people's favorites,
Hmm.
and I like how she guessed what Josephine stole,
Yeah.
which I know you said there's no magic here, but I genuinely believe there is this very obvious call out to the story that she tells Anouk to go to bed is them.
Oh yeah, well she says after the
Well,
story is over, she says good night, mama. And she even calls the little
right,
girl in the story as Vienne. So I don't think
right.
that's subtle.
Well,
But so
no. It's not that it's subtle. It's that there's so many. Not the subtlety that she is in the story,
yeah,
but that to me, there's a bit of magical kind of romance magic in here.
yeah,
That she is the not Mary Poppins like, but she's very much this kind of ethereal glow that can be deposited in sad, closed off, or unwelcoming societies. She's a single mother.
yeah,
Motherhood is one of the most like endearing kind of roles, and Anouk
S-
being a girl,
yeah. So I think that that's what we're supposed to believe at the beginning, and then we see that crack and falter,
Yeah,
and
okay,
it makes
fair.
her human. Like we see
Well,
that
especially when she
moment.
drops her mother.
Huh? Oh yeah, yeah. No, no. But that whole scene, yes. But we see her with she's getting frustrated, and like she goes and she yells at the mayor, and like at that point you're like, okay, she's not like, because I was expecting her to go over and be like, I made you that, like, to almost kill him with kindness. That's what
Yeah,
I thought was going to
that's what
happen,
I thought was going to
but she
happen first too.
doesn't. She goes over and, what crime have I committed? What is this? And then we see it again when she's on the boat with Johnny Depp. Um, there's the like, he's like, how does Anouk feel about this? And she's like, she does well. She hates it. Like she
Yeah,
has to admit,
yeah, she does well. She
and so
hates.
like so she has to like let down the image of these
Yeah,
perfect wanderers, and then
no, good point. That when she's talking to Johnny Depp's character about it, that is when she seems more human and less ethereal and less like almost like a good witch of the East kind of thing.
mhm,
Is when she seems she becomes the crack show in this movie that is like, no, I'm human.
yeah,
and
yeah,
and and I really believe
and then
that
she doesn't save everybody; everyone saves her at the end, which is nice too.
correct,
So like
yes.
so like she's given up, and then Josephine, who is we were starting to get to that, but Josephine's like this amazing character who but Josephine brings her in, and they're like all working on it. She's like, no, you're not giving up on us, because you made us, you inspired us, and if you leave, it will change. And she's like, no, you've changed, or
You've changed the
whatever.
whole village,
Yeah,
and she has the whole village in
yeah,
the chocolatier kitchen making all of the specialties.
yep,
And I remember she walks up and she's like, are these almonds okay?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
VN's like trying not to acknowledge, like, no, it's
Right.
perfect. Yes, yes, yeah.
Right.
So
And then
that's the trope, bringing
so
back the romance and
yeah.
the
So
community
she's
movie.
so they save her, and then the last thing to do at that point becomes the mayor. Like at that point,
Yeah,
because remember, uh, Trinity, I can't remember her name in the movie, Caroline.
Caroline.
Uh, she is in the kitchen with them when
That's
they
true.
bring her back
Yeah.
down. That she's in the kitchen with them. So the last crack that they need to fix is the mayor, and the mayor has been in denial and fighting about this idea that his wife isn't
So
coming
Catholic.
back and all these things that are, and he finally he's like, I'm going to go destroy their chocolate,
Oh my God, it's
their
so funny.
chocolate idol. They made this
Uh
golden
huh.
idol to chocolate, and then
Yep.
he gets it on his lip, and that one shot that like it's a close up like this close of his
It's
shot, he's
so
just like, and it's like it's
so.
borderline sexual,
It is. It is.
and and
And the
it
way he
probably
reacts
is,
to it,
and it
like,
is
yeah,
kind of filling that void of like he has been sustaining or he's been abstaining from food
pleasure.
pleasures, and he doesn't have the woman that his wife to be there, like, so he's abstaining from even emotional comfort, and
Hmm.
chocolate becomes that comfort in the moment when he's trying to, like, I can't be happy, none of you can be happy, destroy it, the chocolate.
Yeah.
And she goes, here, have this. At first it's milk. That's actually an error that I found was, if you look at the shot, it's milk, and then when they cut around, it's water. um or maybe it was
Oh.
real cloudy milk, I don't know, but it was definitely two different
I mean,
liquids.
it is 50s
um
France.
yeah. So she, so they're like, yeah, and they're compassionate to him,
Yeah.
and they're not, and they're not
The
like,
community isn't shunning
hey.
him after they find him
Well,
drunk on
even
chocolate in the shop window.
Vienne specifically, and
Oh, she walks
that
right up to him.
yeah, and the priest could have been like, this is my chance to regain my power here. And Vienne could have been like, oh, like they both have this opportunity. They're the two that he's kind of taken the
Oh,
reins on, and they're like, they don't they don't take they don't take the opportunity to kick him while he's down and get back what's
no.
theirs. They show him compassion, and in showing him compassion, they get back what is theirs.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Okay. I can see that. So the whole milk thing, it's Alka-Seltzer.
oh,
And,
okay.
and, and because I just looked at the scene when she hands it to him and it cuts in, you can see the effervescent tablet like breaking up, which is
Okay, I thought it
very
was
much.
milk.
Yeah, no, interesting little like obvious old call out thing. It was thought, and I'm one of those people that thinks this. Fizzy good can solve anything. So when I'm drunk, the morning after, fizzy good. When my stomach isn't good, fizzy good. When I have a headache, fizzy good. Like I'll go to an Alka Seltzer tablet before I'll go to anything else because I still think it's 1950, 60, and The Man in the Flannel Suit is the best book on the market. So I really believe that his character coming around fits that community movie,
Oh yeah.
come in, bring everybody together kind of thing. But
There's no
the
bad guy that's defeated. There is a bad guy who's won
correct.
over and who is
And he's not
redeemed.
even
And
bad.
yeah,
He's not bad like an
no,
evil villain kind of bad. He's bad because he won't go with his real feeling because his religion won't let him.
yeah.
Or his commitment to that religion won't let him. And I really feel that this delivery of this format is one of the more believable slash charitable examples that doesn't feel underhanded of that, like you said, that bad Hallmark community movie thing. And for me, it added a layer of legitimacy to believe that not only could this have been a village in a small isolated French or European city, but it could even be applied to so many real life examples where you and I can think of something, whether as coworkers or as adults, where this has happened.
Hmm.
And it's feel good without having to be described as feel good. Like when a movie's
Hmm.
described as feel good, I usually won't watch it
Right.
because I know if you have to tell the
It's not
audience it's a
corny.
feel good, well, no, see, corny can be funny. I think when you have to describe a movie as feel good, which Chocolat is not, when you have to describe a movie as feel good, it is made for less scrupulous audiences that need to be told it's a feel good movie
Hmm.
to want to see it.
Yeah.
Film fans are going to be able to pick that out on their own. We don't need to be spoon fed. This is a feel good family movie. Here, go watch it, buy the tickets, buy the merch. Like, no, I want to go watch a movie that has those themes because it's a good theme for a movie. And
Right.
Chocolat has that. I never, because I like to look through promotional stuff, old like of the era promotional stuff when we see these movies. And Chocolat was really pushed as a romance.
Hmm.
It was pushed as a community film before that was really what they were called. It was never really pushed as a feel good flick for the whole group. Like
Oh yeah.
like that wasn't how it was talked about. And I think the director, coming off of Cider House Rules, this was definitely not. He didn't want to make that kind of movie, and
Right.
Maelstrom did not, of course.
Let's talk about what we think the movie got right and what we think could be improved.
Okay,
Okay, so I have some idea. So I don't want to say improved on what I'm about to say, um, but so I think the story is excellent, the acting and the ensemble is excellent. The production quality is like the sets and the costumes are fine, are good, but
they're period correct.
the
They
technical
are
side of things is it's serviceable.
Rocky.
It does
Yeah,
it
yeah,
does what it needs
yeah.
to do, but it doesn't stand out. So like
Okay,
I
doesn't
think
stand
about
out as a
like
good way to say that.
I think about there's like the what I think when you think about good movies, B plus and better movies. I think about there's three camps. So there is writing and acting, directors who are really good with writers and actors. So think about like Rob Reiner, people, even, and then there's the movies that where they're really good with the cinematography and the sound design, but maybe they aren't good with story or actor. I think
Okay.
Stanley Kubrick a little bit, and then there's the like.
Yeah.
I mean, some of Stanley Kubrick's movies hold up a little bit, and there's some crossover because like Rob Reiner has some movies where he probably hired better cinematographers than other movies, and Stanley Kubrick
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
some where he's adapting a story that's better than other, right? So they're not strictly one or the other. And then there's the movies that are kind of all. So some of Spielberg's best stuff is Schindler's List is and Saving Private Ryan. Almost everything he did from 1975 to 1993 essentially
Yeah.
is excellent cinematography, excellent sound design, excellent scoring, and good acting and good story. And so it's like that perfect total package.
So you feel this is serviceable, but the biggest letdown was quality of,
It's
not like technology quality, but production quality or editing quality.
I think it's just that nothing stands out with regards to cinematography, regards to sound design, or like think of so like there is I don't want to say soft focus,
It's
but like
I
this
was literally about to say it's soft. You
yeah,
hit this on the head for me. It is soft, but it's on purpose.
it is, but I've seen other movies do
But
that
it
on purpose
fits.
that stand out, that pop better. You know what I mean? And so like
Eh,
not trying to knock it. I'm not trying to knock it at all. I'm saying like look at
I
okay
thought it
to
was soft with a purpose. I mean that.
uh
Like, not
I
only of the time, a lot of films were softer in
yeah,
especially this style in their presentation, but also outside of outside of a shallow depth of field, I never saw a real requirement for it to be like razory sharp. I'm
well,
not pushing back on this. I'm asking for more clarity
sure.
from your statement.
So a couple things that I think are a telltale of just like so not only depth of field, we also talk about like contrast. Now again, sometimes you don't want sharp contrast or high contrast,
Yeah.
um, but you don't have it's just it's literally like, okay, everything's color corrected well, everything's shot well, but it's not. There's no. It feels like that cinematography took a back seat, which I'm fine with, and I think that this movie fits that. Like this story fits that necessity, but there are other movies where I think that there's an opportunity other than the red. There's an opportunity to build in some stark contrasts because you're talking about these
Yeah.
contrasty things, and it in the 50s were a stylized time. We're not talking about, we're not talking about like 200, 300 years ago before they had good what do you call it, like textiles, like that could, like, so there's reasons you could have more contrast. But then as far as the cinematography, you also, like, other than the shot of Alfred Molina licking his bottom lip, there is very little bit in close up, and close up can do so much. I mean, Alfred Molina, I think, gets the two that I can think of, which is that one where he's licking his lip, and then when he's like smelling the jam jar or whatever that's supposed to be, and he's like having that
Yeah.
orgasm face, like,
You-
but like,
that was
you
so
know,
hard to look at
every
sometimes.
there's so much that seems to be in middle shots, and there's not that many
Yeah.
far shots, and there's not that many close-up shots. Everything is in middle shot, which makes me think play more than movie. And so, like, and like I said, I'm not saying that it's
Okay.
bad cinematography. I'm just saying it doesn't stand out in the way, like, so, like, it's, everything is well, there's no canted angles, there's no wide shots that are interesting other than establishing shots, there's no close-ups other than the two, like, there's no close-ups that have other purposes that are more subtle than,
Okay.
like that. And so, like, again, it's more of a play vibe, and I don't hate that. This movie, when we get to ratings, this movie is definitely not the bottom of my watchability. Like, this is,
No,
I would watch the shit out of this movie compared to a lot of the stuff we've
but
watched.
I'm not watching it for its technical prowess or its
Exactly.
visuals or I'm watching it
This,
for its story and its
right.
characters, which is very much why, or sorry, that's very
Yeah.
much a hallmark of this style. That community film, Waking That Divine, is just as soft,
Yeah.
just as shallow, just as like flat in its color
Yeah.
correction. So according to shotonwhat.com, which is one of my favorite websites for technical, like what was used, this was basic Kodak film. This was
Mm-hmm.
basic spherical camera. This was shot on 35 negative. It was 185 1 distributed aspect ratio. Like, nothing was standouty about the equipment used.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's obvious. I think nothing was stand out about its visual representation. So you think that's something that could be done better?
It's just, it's something that I think if it had been done more stylized visually, because the movie, I think, is
Dude,
basically perfect in
it
story.
so
Basically,
feels like a play. You're not kidding. This feels like a
yeah,
filmed play on set or on location. Then it feels like a film with structure and thirds and everything that a filmmaker like you does. This is absolutely that feeling, but just the actors are a lot better at it. You know what I mean?
right, right, and I like it, and I'm like, to me, what I'm talking about, like, in adding those, like, crisp and, like, sound things, and the crisp cinematography, like, that stylized, or a cinematography that stands out in some way, you would make this go from a really good, a really fun, good movie to a masterpiece. Like,
Yeah,
I think,
if this was shot better, as
yeah,
in a cinematographer with chops
yeah,
did something like this, it would elevate it to me past
yeah,
that 2000s community film. It would
right,
push it into, like you just mentioned, like it's going to be top 5 for us and a lot of other people.
yeah.
But
Like, think about The Godfather. The Godfather
oh
is
god,
is
it's
so
one of the
strong
best. It's
acting.
literally one of the best films that has ever been made, over and
It's
over and
it's
over
it's
again. I
really
can
good
look at it.
writing, really
Yeah,
good acting, really good ensemble. If you
true.
put if you put serviceable, not standout cinematography in that movie, I don't think we're talking about it 50 years later, or at least not the way not everybody's talking about it. Like
No, and
I
it was
think you know
filmed
the
in the
shot where
70s.
yeah, it's filmed 20, you know, that was 25 years before this movie. That were, you
Yeah.
know, but you shoot like the overhead lighting so that you've got like the dark eyes of, you know, America, I believe in America, you know, if you just light that like we're lighting this, like you and I are lit, and it's like I believe in America, even if the acting performances are exactly the same and the story, the script is exactly the same, I just don't think it holds. I don't think
No.
it doesn't become the
It,
masterpiece because it's the total picture.
yeah, right.
In this
It
movie,
becomes the modern day example of someone has a podcast
yeah,
and
well,
they're
I mean,
doing
but
okay rather than they are a master at shooting
yeah,
and they have good acting. You know,
right,
so no, okay, I'm going to go with you. If this had some better standout filming methodology or shooting methodology,
yeah,
it could be much higher and would be higher on my list as well.
yeah,
Also, considering that this is classic on celluloid on 35 using what could be the most standard methods of that era, it works. But
yeah,
yeah, it would be even better. You're right. It's a serviceable or a filmed play. You're hitting that on the head for now. Now that I'm recalling scenes, I'm like, oh my god, that is exactly what I think of. It
yeah.
is.
And again, I mean, I would kill to make a movie this good. Like this, so I don't want it to sound like I'm shitting on the movie.
No,
Like I wish that some of you know I wish that Rosemary's Baby was as good of a movie as this is. I wish that like you know
no, you're not kidding.
coming up, I think some of our stuff is going to be not as good. Like this is a very good movie.
Yeah,
It is not a masterpiece, and I think
no,
that the reason why is that the
that's where it let down.
it was acting and script focus, which is really really important because the opposite could be you know there's movies that are beautiful and you're like well that was you know um
You'd
have
almost
you ever
rather
seen
watch it with the sound off because it's so
have,
pretty to look at, but you don't care what's happening
yeah
on the screen.
have you ever seen a Terrence Malick movie?
I bet you can name one, and I know it is, but I
So
don't know
Tree
that by
of
name.
Life.
Oh
Have you
yeah,
ever
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I this is going to be a hot take that a lot of our if we're getting a lot of film fans watching, they're going to absolutely hate what I'm about to say.
Uh oh,
That
here it
movie
comes.
sucks. It's visually stunning. It is amazing visually. It is completely unwatchable to me. Like literally, I watched it in the theater. You know, it was nominated for Best Picture, so I watched it after it had been nominated with a bunch of other people,
Yeah.
and literally the lights went up, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?" Like the theater was like, "What the fuck was that?" And not like, "Holy shit, what the fuck was that?" It was more like, "Oh, we just wasted 2.5 hours or whatever it was." Like, but visually, I mean, you can't look at some of those visuals and not think incredible. You know, like that is that you know some of that stuff is just amazing. So that's the opposite end, and I would way rather watch a filmed play than a beautiful screensaver.
No,
Like,
agreed. Because no, because here the acting and the story and the delivery of the lines is serving the film
yeah,
visuals, not the other way around,
right,
which is like the Malik film,
yeah,
like you're exampling. Whereas I could get a good looking film and crap actors
hmm
and probably get a nod from some kind of rating or review, but not make a good film that, like you said, we're talking about two
yeah,
decades later. You know, yeah, good point.
yeah. And I think your average audience is going to appreciate this movie more than that opposite end of the spectrum. The thing that makes it
It's more
memorable,
watchable.
yes, it's absolutely more watchable. And I don't think that there's nothing in here where I'm like, oh, this person wasn't doing their job. Like, well, like
Okay.
everything is, but like there is stuff where I'm like, well, there's no, it's not standout about the behind the scenes stuff, the behind the camera stuff, not the you know, and so like that's not a knock, you know. Like I
You're
said,
right. Nothing here
the
feels technical, but I didn't expect it to be.
right. So that's my only improvement thing. Do you have
So what
anything?
does it get right? The same thing in inverse or something specific?
Um, I think that the story, so the acting's great. It's got
I
nominated
agree.
for 2 Oscars. Um, I forget who. Juliette Binoche and was it Judi Dench? Both got nominated for
I
this.
think it was I think it was Dench. Yeah, hold on, let me look at it. Go ahead.
But so the acting was great, but I actually think that the story does, and you know, and there's so many good actors that are so like underrated. Like Alfred Molina is brilliant. It's amazing he's never been
Yeah,
nominated for an Oscar.
I
Um,
know.
but like the to me the thing that I think it does so well is it subverts the expectations of what you think the movie's going to be at a lot of turns and in a good way. Like you think this is the, you know, this is the part where they can, you know, like I said before, this is the part where they could get, you know, they could take back what's theirs, and they don't, they're compassionate. And when we see, you know, it would be so easy for Juliette Binoche to play a Mary Poppins, where it's like she's practically perfect in
Yeah,
every way, and she doesn't, you know, Mary Poppins helps everybody else, but largely doesn't change in the movie herself. Juliette Binoche's character does have those weaknesses, and does she is changed as well by her daughter wants to find a place to stay, and she goes, well, this isn't the place because they're doing everything everybody else has always done. And then she realizes that she's done enough that they're now going to change her back. Like they're in return, they're going to change her in
yeah,
return.
yeah. Almost
So
like there's a
it,
fear that she's going to regress
yeah,
and not be able to be this roaming a bubble of change that she
right,
brings to all these places. Because
right,
uh, Vienne does tell the audience during one of her monologues, like, this is not the first time she's fallen into a little
yeah,
village. Like, this is like what, like a third or fourth one or something.
yeah, yeah. And so there's this, you know, I think that there's just like the story, the screenplay. You know, you mentioned the like the ups and stuff, and you're absolutely right. But there is B story and the other things that are like, think about rap music for a second. This is just like rap music. Um, you have the beat and then you have the flow, and they work together, but you don't necessarily have the rapper rapping to the beat the whole time. You have the
Okay,
beat
okay.
doing its own thing and the flow doing its thing, and they work in tandem, like well together, while not necessarily bouncing off each other. And so you have Vienne's arc, like anybody else who wrote this would have written Vienne to be a Mary Poppins or Nanny McPhee, which is Mary Poppins. You know, like that character comes in, they don't, you know, need to have a change, and sometimes there's a good reason why, like a good reason why they don't change. So they, you know, like look at, you know, we talked about um, Alfred Molina's character.
Yeah,
He up, you know, eventually he does change, but he doesn't change what you think he's gonna change, because he was
that's true.
polite at the beginning because it's the right thing to do, or it's the thing you're supposed to do, and then he was aggressive because he was the thing he thought you were supposed to do. And similarly, if you look at Captain America through his story arc of the MCU, people want to say like, oh, you know, he changed, and it's like, no, he did what he did what he thought was the right thing to do the whole way through. There's no point at which he doesn't do that. The government changes. So at the beginning, it's World War II, and the U.S. government's on the right side, so he's moving. And then the government switches to being the aggressor
Okay,
in the Avengers movies, and so he
I see it
follows
now.
that. So there is a purpose for sometimes not having a main character really change the same way, and it can still give them an arc. Captain America, I think, has a great arc without much change in who he is at his core. Vienne, I think, has Vienne seems like a character that any other writer would have made her, she's the baseline and everything happens around her. And yes, she
Okay.
affects other people's change, but she doesn't take in any growth or any change. And I think by doing that with her, that is the highlight of this movie. Is you're expecting that the opening leads us to expect that, you know, there's that ethereal music and there's the wind blowing the doors open, and there's that feeling of
You expect
magic,
Mary Poppins,
and you
but
expect Mary
you get
Poppins,
human.
and you get a human who is really good in a lot of ways, but is flawed. And we see her flawed, and we see she realizes she's flawed, and so we don't have like an angel the whole time.
No, and that would have been boring to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I mean,
And
you can make it work, but I think this story would have this you would not we wouldn't be talking about this in 2025, 25
no,
years afterwards
no, you're right.
if
So
that.
no, we wouldn't be talking about it that much after. And when you have a writer like Robert Nelson Jacobs, who has Waterhouse, Out to Sea, Dinosaur, like those are the credits that he carries as a screenplay writer.
Yeah.
You you have a staff, you have a crew that is confident in their craft, that doesn't need to lean, and almost like I would think that if you did Mary Poppins, like you'd be taking the lazy route.
Hmm.
If you did
Yeah.
the magical change that comes to a little village, you would get the community film, but
Hmm.
then you'd also get like the Mary Poppins thing, and you'd end up with a movie that I bet you would have in the promo material feel good, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't be watching it.
It would be a
Good point.
Hallmark movie. You know,
A
because
really
they're
expensive on location Hallmark movie.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so do you have any hot takes? I think we kind of already given a little bit of hot takes with my it's a play.
Dude, I love that one. It is shot like a play with good acting. I That is so good. Because I'm gonna go watch scenes of this back and be like, this is like a good college. This is like a good college production, just with really nice cameras and
Yeah.
and an expensive location. So I really think for hot takes is this is a movie where the marketing department and the writers and the cinematographers, they never had a Zoom meeting together to discuss it, because the most famous title card or playbill, I don't know what in the industry, what are those called, the things that hang out front in the theaters?
Marquee?
Marquee, thank you, because I'm thinking theater is playbill.
Yeah.
So the famous marquee for this, right,
Hmm.
is 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 Binoche, and
Johnny
it's
Depp.
that. It's
Yeah.
Binoche and Johnny Depp, and she's feeding him chocolate. Like it that for marketing purposes feels like you're about to show me a slightly scandalous romance movie,
Yeah.
which is not what this is at
Not
all.
at all. No,
And then
it
and
is
on
marketed completely different from what this movie is.
yes, and
Absolutely.
then on top of that, it's shot soft like a romance movie,
Hmm.
but even the writers write better than that marquee sells itself. Like honestly, when I saw that marquee, I thought I was going to be watching like a Tinto Brass slash
Like they're dripping the chocolate on each other's bodies. Like
dude,
yeah,
you're
like
right. Like I really thought I was about to see a period sex romance movie. That
yeah.
is not what this is at all.
No.
And then when you have like you and then okay, another perfect example of a hot take is the Conte being being such a stuffed shirt is just a good it's a good example on how Catholicism is still too strict, even for a movie set in the 50s,
Hmm.
shot in the late 90s, and then we're watching in the 2020s. It just fits that so much that a chocolatier sets up in a French village that is descended on by Irish gypsies in the middle of Lent. Like, does that say any of that?
No.
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 Like it really doesn't, but at the same time, it, okay, like pleasure and consent, this movie treats it like a revolution,
Yeah.
and that should be normal, because chocolate has always held, coming from the food side of this, chocolate has always held a forbiddenness to it.
Yeah.
Now, our parents, because we're both in our 40s, our parents grew up when Polynesian culture was exotic and
Yes.
Thai culture was exotic and China was this far off place that our parents called the Orient, right? And chocolate has retained that mystique, whereas those other tropes have not. And I like how that that marquee with Juliette Binoche and Judy Dench, Alfred Molina. Like, I even thought this was going to be closer to a Broadway feel with those kind of names. And also with three of those names being more international actors than
Yeah.
known American actors. And also, this was filmed in English and presented in English. It is not truly a foreign film, but everything about it you thought it was going to be. Chocolat, chocolate.
Hmm.
Like, it's so yes. So my hot take is absolutely the marketing department, the writers, and the people who shot this never got on a Zoom meeting together.
No. I mean, I think that's common. Not usually in something that gets nominated for Best Picture. But
Right,
like,
right. Something that gets
but
this much
like,
fanfare, like you don't see
right.
that.
But like, yeah, it's definitely they were not all on the same page.
No,
Or they were like, maybe the marketing
maybe
team
that
was
sold it
cynical.
better.
Maybe the marketing team was cynical, and they were like, you know
Oh.
what? I can't sell what you're making, but if I sell something else, they're gonna love it anyway.
I, I can't make a poster that says those things. Can I just make
Yeah.
it look like it's about sex and chocolate? Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Sex and Chocolate, the name of my
Sex and chocolate.
autobiography.
So what is your hot take on this? You kind of gave one that it's literally a filmed play, but do
Yeah.
you have another one that's more like overarching?
Yeah, I have one that I think there's gonna be a whole bunch of people that will be like, absolutely, and there's gonna be a whole bunch of people that are gonna be like, fuck this guy.
That
Uh,
is literally the definition of a hot take. I want to hear it.
this is
I
Johnny
want to hear it.
Depp's this is Johnny Depp's last movie where he's not a fucking weirdo, and we love him as a weirdo in Pirates of the Caribbean, but he everything after this, like this is the last role that he was just a guy hired to play a
Holy.
part. I mean, I got to look at his filmography. There might have been like something in the middle there that was like not memorable, but like the next thing that I think of after this
Holy
is
shit.
Pirates, and I love Pirates. He's great in Pirates, but after Pirates, he was like, oh, I got an Oscar nomination for being weird. I'm gonna be weird forever. And so this was the last, because before this it was Donnie Brasco, and it was,
Like
you know,
serious roles. And I don't mean
yeah,
serious
yeah,
in the sense that the other ones are not, but serious roles in
yeah.
that he plays a person. He plays
And
a
I mean,
believable person.
and he played weirdos before, right? He played Edward Scissorhands, and he played weirdos,
I
but
was literally about to say Scissorhands,
it
yeah.
wasn't his only mode. And now, even
No,
when he plays Whitey Bulger as a fucking weirdo, like like
that is true.
transforming, and like he's actually another Lassie Holstrom movie. He was in uh What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So you get like that. So like I think, and I'm pulling up his IMDb page right now,
I'm
but
looking
like
at I'm trying to find it now too, yeah.
after Chocolat, okay, he did Blow after this, which
Is a fantastic movie, dude.
fantastic movie, and From Hell. Okay, so it's not exactly his last, but this is there's like two or three options that are probably not quite as big as this, and then Pirates of the Caribbean, and then from there on out, it is Weird Fest, and sometimes it works, sometimes it really works.
Sweeney
Um,
Todd. Okay, no, you're absolutely right. Like every movie after this, it's like Johnny Depp is playing a caricature of
yeah,
Johnny Depp playing somebody. And
yeah.
and he's typecast sort of in the way that like he's typecast sort of in a way that Ace Ventura, help me.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. He's typecast sort of in a way that Jim Carrey always gets
Yeah,
goofy roles, like slapstick level comedy roles. But
yeah.
Johnny Depp, you're not kidding. Like everything after this,
I mean,
Minamata.
there's a couple
Waiting for the
There's more than I
Barbarians.
remember. There's more than I
Yeah.
remembered normal, but like, but you know, Blow from Hell, Once Upon a
Dio
Time in America. Those are all,
Sauvage.
yeah, swavage.
You're like
On
Alex.
this
Swavage.
podcast, it is called swavage. Just like Matthew makes you say my wife.
My
On this
wife.
podcast, you say swavage.
Swavage, got it. So no, you're really absolutely right. So many of his roles that that he's well rated or acclaimed for,
Yeah,
he plays an outlandish goofball.
but he was way more balanced in the other direction before this movie. Like the only
Okay.
real weird one. I mean, he was in some little weird stuff like Crybaby, but I don't think he was even that weird in Crybaby. And
No, in
Edward
Crybaby
says
he was a normal person, but Crybaby as a film is, by the way, I like it.
it's John
It is
Waters, so it's gonna be weird.
good point. Exactly. It's going to be weird. There's going to be characters that are on the
Yeah,
edge of believable human.
yeah,
Like what past trauma makes you act that way is a question
yeah,
you want to ask some some John Waters characters.
yeah.
But
He's in Benny and June, which, yeah, I mean, he's like a little odd. He's odd within the realm of possibility odd, and
he's odd the way people call autistic people now.
yeah, yeah.
He's just different.
You
Which
wouldn't.
which I would believe
He's
when
not a
he's
cartoon
pounding.
character.
Exactly. He's not a cartoon character. He's not drinking was it megaliters of beer?
I forget. I just remember. Was it during the trial that they were like?
That's what I'm remembering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says here that you were spending $1 million a month on wine, and he goes, "I'm quite insulted by that insinuation. I think it was closer to 2."
No. It was wine. It was wine.
Yeah,
Come on. We gotta. I thought it was mega something.
maybe
Mega pints.
a mega pints.
You were
Yeah,
drinking a mega pint of red wine.
but I
It
do
says here
remember
you were
him.
spending $1 million.
Yeah, no,
I'm kind of insulted by that.
yeah.
So,
All right.
even in real life, he's weird.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's absolutely. He's a weirdo, but and I don't know if he was the whole time or not. Maybe he was, but like after playing Jack Sparrow, it was like, oh, this is my ticket. Like, because he was
Oh yeah.
successful before that, but then he like boomed after that, right? So like that's why they were able to get him in this role in this movie, because he wasn't quite a Brad Pitt at this point in time. He wasn't, at that level.
Right.
Then he takes, after this, he takes Pirates of the Caribbean, gets his first Oscar nomination, becomes at one point in time, he was the highest paid actor for the Pirates movies of like any, it was before Iron Man. It was, he was the highest paid actor ever on those movies. And in that process, it was like, okay, well, my meal ticket is weird. And so this was like that last, like, I mean, yeah, he does an accent. The accent's believable. The character's believable.
See, as a guy that can do accents, his Irish accent is it's kind of reminiscent of Snatch.
Okay.
It is. It's a little reminiscent of a lot of the accents that were in Snatch, which was also a film from 2000, where Brad Pitt there's very specific vowel sounds in Village Irish that's not dead on, but it's more believable than joke.
Passable.
Yeah,
passable.
No, it's more than passable. It's more believable than a joke. But I could be like, oh no, that
he's not going
like
heart stars and horseshoes, clovers and blue moons.
Right? Yeah, he's not doing that. He's
Lots
doing a believable.
Rainbow.
Well, because I genuinely believe Johnny Depp is a fantastic actor. Like, I really do think he's good at what he does as embodying a character more than other typecast folks, where, and you and I have said this, it's not person playing the character. Or sorry, it's not the character being played by a person. It's that character is that person. Right. So Jim Carrey is always Jim Carrey playing blank. He has such a heavy influence on stuff. There's never a time when I think, oh yeah, that's Jim Carrey. Oh no, but that's really blank character in that film or in that TV show. I can see Johnny Depp playing a character, and really, I can see it's him. I know it's him, but it's believable enough that I'm not thinking the whole time, oh, that's just Johnny Depp playing blank.
Yep.
So a hot take. This is Johnny Depp. I like that. This is Johnny Depp's last movie where he's not playing a weirdo.
Yep.
I like that a lot. I do.
Do we recommend this film?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Full
Um,
stop. Yes, because film nerds can like it, but
mhm.
I also think that casual film fans are not going to be are not going to have this go over their heads, and then film nerds are not going to be insulted watching
Right.
this.
Right. That's the good side of the that like spectrum that I was talking about, with the acting and the screenplay being the focus of the meat of the movie, is that audiences will like it. Like, your general audience will watch this movie. The opposite end, not often true, where it's like, oh, this was really visually stunning, but there was no story, or the acting was bad, or whatever. So that's the good side of this. And again, all the things that weren't in the focus of the effort, they're not bad. There's nothing that's
No.
bad. And so,
Yeah,
like,
there's no point where I paused and went, "Oh Jesus!" Like there was never a
this
point that I felt I had to do that.
this isn't a fun movie but a bad movie. This is a fun movie but a good movie, not an amazing movie.
Waiting for Guffman
I
is
have
a good
not seen it.
example of a good movie, like feel, but just for actual movie.
Okay.
Waiting for Guffman is not fun.
All right. So let's rate this movie. I will
Let's
say,
rate
let's
this
rate this
bad boy.
bitch. All right. So we're pretty close to on the same level, I think. Why don't you want to go first?
Yeah. So for me, I did fun and watchability 7 because I think on a scale of 10, this speaks to like what we were just mentioning. It There was no point where I paused it and went, are you kidding me? Ugh, obviously. Or one of my least favorite things in films, I can guess the next line. I might have been able to guess what was about to happen. That's different than guessing a line. Guessing
Mm-hmm.
what's about to happen helps move a film along. Guessing a line is just poor writing.
Yeah.
And there was never a time that I felt that. So for fun and watchability, it's definitely fun because at the end of it, it's feel good in the sense, although the movie poster does not display this, there is an absolute sense of I'm about to have a good time watching this because it even opens with that fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then for I gave the same score, a 7 for quality, because I do have the nitpicks of you have Judi Dench and you could have used her better, obviously.
Oh, I thought Judi Dench was excellent in
No,
this.
excellent could have been even better. There could have been some extra. I wanted to see more conflict between her and her daughter. I
Yeah.
wanted there to be more scenes of them having conversations about their conflict, not just it being a known thing they have a conflict of. That's more what I mean by like the writing could have used her more.
Mm-hmm.
And also I'm a very big fan of Judi Dench, so
That
it's
damn
hard for
Judi
me to, huh?
Dench. That
What?
damn Judi Dench.
That damn Judi Dench. It's hard for me to see Judi Dench or Helen Mirren be used and then not be just almost exploited used, right? You
Yeah.
got them on your film, squeeze that 3 times. Once on the
Yeah.
front, once on the back, and once from the side. Make sure you get everything.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm giving it 7s both, because to me it's not the 0 is the worst ever and the 10, because I don't think I've ever watched even a 3 film that I'll talk
Mm-hmm.
about, you know. So that's why 7 is like, yeah, I know that's a C in like American schools, but it's better than a C, but it's just dang good enough overall. And some of the technical stuff is why the quality's down, like the lighting. I know it was shot on
Yeah.
celluloid. It could have been lit better. It could have
Mm-hmm.
been the sound's a bit flat. Nothing punched through really good
Mm-hmm.
above others. So that's why it's a 7 across for me.
Okay, for me, I give it an 8 for fun and watchability. I watched it with my wife, and we watched it in one sitting, which is a rarity for us. We just loved it. Like we just sat and just watched it. Um, I would, if Logan was like, if Logan, my son who was on last week, sees this episode and goes, "Oh, I want to watch that movie. That sounds good." I would watch it again. Like that's how good I enjoyed the movie.
Oh, okay.
Quality wise, I think 7. For the kind of the reasons I've said already, but like it's a really well acted, really well written movie. I would love to see a little more from it in the sense of something that makes it pop and like you know cinematography,
Yeah.
something that's just makes it stand out from like this could have been a play, you know.
Love
Um,
that.
yeah.
Royal
Next
Tannenbaums. I am so
next week,
buzzed for this.
yeah, next week we're going to be watching the Royal Tenenbaums, which again, this is another one of these ones where I saw it once a long, long time ago, and I don't really remember much of it. It is obviously it is a classic to so many at this point, so it'll be interesting to dive back in. It also, it was Wes Anderson's third movie,
Yep.
um,
It's
and
after he
and
started
really
to
like
hit.
it's real. I was gonna say it's really the one that kind of broke through the
Hmm.
most into the
Yep.
mainstream, and so now with 20 years of him as a mainstream director, it'll be interesting to kind of go back and revisit it with that context as well. So I am excited for next week. That's We're doing a family movie because that episode is going to be coming out Thanksgiving week, and so let's do a family movie before we move into Christmas. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
we have some fun movies lined up for Christmas, some obvious picks and maybe some not so obvious. So it's not going to be the
yeah,
Hallmark Channel around here on Cinemen. It's going to be quality films that you might not have seen before, and some our second most modern film is going to be during December. So modern
yeah,
meaning it
yeah.
was in the last 5 years.
Yeah,
Or last 3 years actually at that point. So I'm
yeah,
excited for it. We appreciate you guys coming by for Chocolat. We are doing the Royal Tenenbaums next week. So enjoy that episode when it's out on all of our different social platforms. And thanks for
yeah,
coming by. Remember, you can come into a small French village and make a change, but only if you're as attractive as Vienne.
yeah, yeah. And remember, this movie was based on a book. And if you like books, you should go buy The Dinner Party, available wherever you buy books online and in one store now. I wrote a novel and it came out in the last week. So I really wanted to, I'm hoping that you'll check it out. I'll link to it in the show notes.